How do I have to do it?
So you have to click on your presentation. It's all in French.
How do I go?
Full screen.
Je pensais qu'il allait le faire. Je ne sais pas qu'ils n'avaient
It's
pas.
all in French, that's why. C'est tout en français. C'est pour ça que...
Do I just put mic here or yes? So I just talk like this or
No, you,
the microphone? This?
no. The hand mic.
Where? Oh, okay. I talk. Can you guys hear me?
Very well.
Yes. We'll be starting in, I think, 5 minutes. 3:10, I think. This is for ENS talk. So if anyone interested in ENS, you stay here. If you want to talk about interested in the latest wallet technology by Argent, I think it's somewhere else. And there's some interesting talks, but thank you very much for coming to this place. I'm just killing time, by the way. But it starts in 3:10.
She's from Italy. She's from Italy.
ENS talk 3:10. Get your ass down there. ENS talk right here, right now, in 5 minutes. Yes. Come here. People, stop conversation. Listen to ENS. Idea was I wanted to have a big voice outside, but it sounds like it echoed here.
Unfortunately.
I have loud voices. Yeah, that's one. We have 3 more minutes. Before I start, are there any general question about ENS? I'm happy to answer. Or who has ENS name? About half. So we have 3 minutes. So if everyone who hasn't raised hands, go to app.ens.domains and you type your favorite name and you buy it. That's the way to kill your time. And then you learn, what ENS is. So I can kind of skip the first 5 minutes of like what ENS is. So if you have who hasn't raised hands in my previous question? Oh, now people not raising. Okay, but okay. If you were, I think if you're here, not just because like you just wanted to take a seat, but if you have a vague interest in ENS, and if you don't have it, then I definitely recommend just buying one for $5, or you go to now.ens.domains where you can get subdomain for free, or you go to ismoney.is.link, and you can buy like Makoto ismoney.is link, or like whatever your name is money.is.link. So if you don't want to pay a penny for ENS, that's the best ways to get a domain for free. Or if there's a wallet like such as Ethereum or Argent, they also give you a subdomain for free. So that's a way to get it. And 1 minute, or shall we start? Or okay, I think. Okay, thank you very much for coming to ENS Name Talks. The title is called ENS Beyond Ethereum. Okay, and my name is Makoto, and I'm a developer at ENS. I also do some event management app called Kickback, which some of you might have used, but yeah. Today's talk is about ENS. So who's been to DevCon? 5? Okay, so I tried to do the recap since the DevCon 5, but since most of people weren't there, I'm just gonna briefly talk through what Nick Johnson, our lead developer, talked about. Is we basically had 3 big changes. One is the short name auction. That when ENS first started, we did an auction, and we basically released a name, anything above 6 characters, but 3 to 6 characters, we thought that's precious. And we didn't know the best way to distribute without deterring squatting. So we left it until last September. Then during that time, we changed the model from normal ENS as a name to NFT token. So we took advantage of the interoperability of the NFT token. So we did a token sales through OpenSea. So and also we started integrating with lots of traditional internet domain name provider like DNS namespace, and then we talk about some partnership. Then also we announced that we started doing multi-coin support. So at that time, it was kind of deal, like we just decided. So like it wasn't really integrated yet. And so after I think short name auction finished like a couple weeks after the DevCon, and now like people have like lots of short names. So like Vitalik is 7 characters, but for example Eric.is, Avasa.is, people start taking advantage of these short names, and the people start putting on an ENS name, the Twitter address and all that stuff. And as a result of more prominent names on sale, like I think we had a gradual growth that currently we have about 345,000 .eth name on the market in use, and also as a total, including other namespace or subdomains, we have about 433,000 names in use. So if you have the ENS name, it's like you are one of them. Okay. And thanks to many people start integrating, we now have like 34 wallets and 84 dApps integrated into the ENS, which so far was good. Like it was like, yeah, we are getting very good progress. Then, so January, just a couple of months ago, we announced that we actually got a bug report from, who's this? Does anyone know the logo? Has anyone heard of the name called Samsung? Right, like 0x bug, BizX bug, also Ethereum bug, all the bug report, it's all done by a guy called Samson. And he also reported that ENS had a bug. And so after the DevCon, we worked for 3 months trying to do the transition. So we basically for the last 3 months, we are quite swamped with all doing the migration to make sure nobody lose their names and the stuff. So even though our name today's talk is ENS beyond Ethereum address, I think it's inevitable. Like we should know what happened. So like I'm going to spend fast probably 10-20% just talking about that so-called registry migration of what happened after the bug report, how we transitioned, and what we still have to do. And then like we're going to talk about exciting stuff. So the thing is, during DevCon, we announced what we're going to do. But like, yeah, we were busy, but our partners have spent lots of time integrating with us. So there are some exciting development, which I'd love to share with you guys. Okay, so registry migration. So this is Nick Johnson, the lead developer of ENS, and he looks like, he's super happy. He's getting married, and so he's got married in November 12th, and we have a donation site called Happy Wedding Julia and Nick.is.link and those stuff if you want to, say thank you to him. But he's smiling in this photo, but I'm sure he wasn't smiling inside his heart. Inside his mind, like, because I think 3 days before the wedding, he's going to report from the Ethereum bug bounty program that actually we had the most serious bug. And then Dean Eigenman, who's part of our team, we so we didn't mention the what was the root cause was until our name got our smart contract fully migrated, because there was an attack vector that people could have take advantage of it. So we kept this secret, but yesterday we just released it. So now I can talk about it. But full detail, you can read this Medium post. And so what happened is, ENS consists of 3 components: registry, resolver, and the registrar. And the registry is basically a dictionary where it stores all your ENS name. And if you ask for ENS name, it returns the so-called resolver. Resolver has a logic to resolve address. So like if it's, I want the Ethereum address for Makoto.is, first thing you ask is registry. And so how you resolve the addresses and also how you register new names is done by registrar. Registrar and the resolver are upgradability in mind. So ENS is actually quite a smart way of having some sort of upgradability logic in immutable smart contract. But it's a bit like proxy model, which is quite popular in smart contract, that the proxy bit is not supposed to change. And the registry was a proxy part, which we shouldn't supposed to change. Then, for that reason, this is actually the entire ENS registry code before the migration. I just took out the comment. It's less than 40 lines of code. Where could that bug can be? It's basically just a key value store. You put a struct record, and there's a setter and getter. If you can find out a bug in this code, you're either genius or you're just liar. Why? Because there is a bug here. So the catch was we didn't basically deploy Solidity code. What we deployed is so-called LLL, which was one of the flavor of like smart contract with like Viper, Solidity. There's a different kind of smart contract, all compiled down to EVM bytecode. And the LLL is kind of like Lisp flavored stuff, which is very kind of between Lisp and the assembly code. So like if you look at it, you can see that in the Solidity, it's abstracted. The structure has a owner resolver TTL field, but in the LLL code, you actually write down the physical location of where the data stores. And given we put just like adjacent to the owner and the resolver TTL information, I'm not the expert on assembly, so I can't explain exactly, but if you have attacker address is 911, and if you set, so basically owner information and the resolver information and TTL information are all in physical location side by side, and usually resolver is where you supposed to put the contract address. But if you put your own address or some other contract address which can change the ownership, if you set that logic on either resolver or TTL first, and if you transfer the name, And the people thought like, if you sell the domain, and I thought I got it, but the previous owner can actually crawl back the name to, so that like in the worst case scenario, I pay lots of money to get like, precious name like DeFi.ETH or something. Then I thought I got it, but the previous owner claimed me back. So that was a bug. And this is interesting that, so TrailBits is a very well-known security company, just released a blog post this morning. It says like, hey, our software called Mantis can spot the ENS bug. And then when I look at it, I thought, oh, this is another bug. But what they did is they had a kind of, how to call it, like a, not randomizer, but like I think they have a program to kind of randomly like poke around different like function calls. And I forgot the name of the, anyway, so they say like they can detect the bug. So like, again, this is fascinating blog post. It just came out this morning when I came, wake up the blog, I found this, so have a look. Yeah, and because of the nature of the bug, we could check online to see if someone had a non-contra address, external address, and has anyone done it. We were able to check it. So I think Nick Johnson, Dean Eigenman, and then Martin, who's in Ethereum kind of security team, they did actually examine like thousands of contract to make sure no one has actually exploited. So when this got reported, I think I got told like about during December. By that time, they did all the research to say no one has exploited yet. So as long as like people don't know about the thing, we knew like no one has exploited. So during that time, like we were in a secret, and then we were just doing the migration work. And so we announced that we had a bug in the 31st of January, and we gave a couple of days advance to some like no more known that like this is happening, so you might prepare to fix it. Then we started the migration from 3rd of February for about, and we spent 1 week basically transitioning entire ENS names, which was about 350,000, which led to changing the storage space of 8,407. So 847 kilo storage slot, which was cost about 16 mega gas, which was initial estimate we saw if we run everything in one way, it's going to cost 17 ETH. But while it was running, I think some people were complaining that because of ENS migration, people can't RSVP on kickback on the 1 ETH or something, or POP. Yeah, I think POP team was complaining that they can't mint POP token because all the one-way gas space is taken by ENS. But eventually, I think we contributed to increasing our own gas, so we ended up spending more. So like in the end, I only figured out like when I read the blog post, like we ended up spending 140 ETH, which was about 25K. And also, so this registry is a part you're not supposed to change. So that's the part people actually hard coding, because like when you want to say, I want to look into this ENS name, first thing you have to pass is ENS registry address. So I did actually the GitHub search, code search, and if I put the old registry name, it had about 2,500 code hits, which was, and I looked into the Gitcoin code search API, and it had about like 400, I think, so about 2,000 code, and I identified there's a 500 organization had these one hard coded. So like I created bots to just like, pull requests to automatically replace one by one. So we, due to the GitHub's search limit, I couldn't raise pull requests to everything. I could only traverse up to 1,000 or something, but like 1,000 core hit, which was 400 organization, 200 PLs, I raised it. So that's kind of migration happened. And the nutshell is the new registry is called fallback registry. So like if there are some names, so if there are some names not migrated, it actually falls back to the old name. Yeah, let me check. Yeah, so this is the pull request. I raised 200, and then when I look at my email inbox, there's only 30 closed. So if you have received these ones, and if you're running a dApp, all the dApps we have a contact with, we already contacted them to update. So majority of the well-known dApps which is in our ENS website, they are mostly changed. You smiling, does that mean you haven't upgraded yet? No? It's okay? Yeah, you guys? Okay, good. Yeah, and yeah, so if you have this pull request, please merge or just close, so at least I know that it's okay. And so if you want to know whether your favorite wallet has migrated or not, so new registry can fall back to old registry. So if the name hasn't some reason migrated, for example, we migrated all the secondary name, like for example, matokun.s. Matokun is migrated, but we didn't migrate subdomain which you created. So if I have like a metamask.matokun.is, unless you explicitly press the migrate button, it's not migrated into the new registry. But new registry has a fallback mechanism so that if it's not migrated, we look up the old registry. So all the new registry, if the wallet is migrated to the new registry, you can see the old names. But old registry cannot see the new name because old registry has no idea. So one way to see is like we have migrated.s, which only exists in new registry. So if your wallet, if type migrated.s, in this example in MetaMask, it resolved to this address. But if whatever the address, ENS, the wallet you are using, migrated to ENS, but if it's not resolving this address, highly likely that they haven't migrated, so you should report to them to upgrade. And yeah, this was the example that this is all ENS manager. This one is migrated, hence you can see the resolver information. But this legacy app, sarge.sh, still pointing to the old one, so you can't resolve the migrated is. That's what I wanted to show. And also, so as I said, you can look it up without doing anything. But if you want to change your record, there's record is managed by something called resolver, and unless you also upgrade resolver by yourself, unless you migrate, you cannot change the record. And the changing is as easy as just pressing this button. So if you see something like this if you go to your name, and if you see something like this, just press the migrate button. And also, as I said, subdomain is not migrated. So yeah, you have to press this button. If you are using something like Ethereum, Argent, I think these people migrated. But like if you only have subdomain, which is managed by parent domain, unless you have the ownership of the parent domain, you can't change it. In that case, you have to ask them to migrate first. So there's a couple of things you have to do, but for just looking at purpose, you can use regardless of whether it's migrated or not. But it's good if it's migrated. So that's basically what happened in the ENS registration walk. Any questions so far? No, all good. Yeah. Okay, so now that basically we kind of passed a critical moment that kind of not like not like critical risk, but like we kind of get past the hard bit, and we are quite relieved. And so now we want to talk about exciting bit. So who said you have ENS addresses? So so you guys set Ethereum addresses, right? And the one thing you might not know is like you can also resolve other cryptocurrency addresses. So like BTC, Litecoin, Doge, Mona, Dash, all sorts of stuff. So like if you go to the manager page, and if you select other coins, you can see about 10 lists of addresses. But if you go to the library called address encoder libraries, we actually have more than dozens of like EOS, KSMA, and RSK, XDAI, and all the stuff is actually supported. Part of the reason we haven't ported into the app yet is, and this is a kind of usage of how you would resolve other coin is, this is used, who has Trust Wallet? Okay, one. So Trust Wallet allows you to handle multiple currencies. So in this case, it's looking into the Vic Me Up. I think this is the Victor, who is the founder of the Trust Wallet, his address. So if you say, send me BNB token, like a Binance token to VIKME up, it actually says there they have their own BNB 70C blah 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 long address. So it just looks exactly the same as how you send look up the same address using ENS name, but just for BNB. And yeah, this one. But one problem is like due to the fact that we have to encode and decode these coin types, the library is getting quite big. So we have a bounty to reduce this library size. Yeah, if it's too big, it's a bit brutal to integrate into some like mobile wallet. They want resource constraints, so they want to include smaller library size. So like there's a competition that like I think it started off with like 3-4 megabytes of library, and it has some logarithmic logic that by this much you save, we give you 1 ETH, and there are currently 3 people submitted, and the 3 ETH is awarded, but we said we're gonna give up to 8 ETH, so there's a 5 more chance. So like if you are kind of like really good at optimizing JS code, this is where you get extra ETH. And yeah, so that was a kind of use case of managing multiple cryptos. And now I want to talk about this beyond crypto thing is that, so you might think why people want to send Bitcoin to the ETH address. This, like you want to send to .BNB or .BTC or something. And this is kind of our response to kind of upcoming competition, which we started facing that, like, there are so many different kind of name services. And their killer feature was like, oh, you can handle more than sending to, Ethereum. You can send to different ones. So we saw like, but the whole logic is just a, dictionary. So like we saw like that's relatively easy to integrate. That's why we quickly integrated other coins. But yeah, I think we had to, people often ask, oh, there's a Unstoppable, so there's Handshake. Oh, okay, who can guess by logo? H? I just said, but Handshake. Next one. Unstoppable. This one. F. Huh? U is Unstoppable, which initially I think, so Handshake is on its own fork of Bitcoin chain naming service. Unstoppable is initially built on the Zilliqa, but they also now have a they have .0 and they have .crypto, and they do in both Zilliqa and the Ethereum. And the third one is I think it's called Fear, which is, I can't remember what it stands for. There's so many acronyms. The IOV is built on Cosmos. And do you know what the last one is? ENS. I have a slide, so we'll keep it until the 2 slides from here. But like, did you guys not see this meme? No? Okay, I thought this was funny, but there's no laugh, so look it up. Like you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about, and I think this is a guy from Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's a maximalist, and he has some like a very good-looking girlfriend, and he says he has a selfie with some very attractive-looking guy, but like, don't worry about it. So I just thought that's kind of, people start worrying like, oh, there's a competition. Are you okay? And I said, don't worry, we are okay. So that's what I'm gonna say. The reasons why we are okay. So first reason why don't worry about it is they are not just competitors. They are also friends and allies, because I just added their logo as one of the supported dApps. And they do actually support .eth in the sense that they recently released, Unstoppable recently released a kind of dApp browser where, I don't know if you know, like you can IPFS, you can upload a static asset into web file site in files into the IPFS, and you can point to ENS, so you can have like ENS talking to IPFS. They did it more native way, so that they can have a kind of file extension called IPFS, and it shows the IPFS content file resolved into their namespace. But they do actually support ENS, so you can also resolve like alex.eth in their unstoppable browser. So they actually support ENS. And yeah, second one, so Handshake. Who knows Handshake? Okay, 2 people. So Handshake did. People ask like, is Handshake competitor? And it's actually they gave us grants, so we're supposed to be friends, I think. Whenever someone gives me money, they are my friends. So I didn't say that, but so Handshake is big, kind of on its own chain, and they want to store the IP address, not the Ethereum address, nor IPFS information. They want to put IP address pointing to their own namespace, internet domain namespace. And so currently, internet domain space is controlled by an organization called ICANN, who started .com.org, but now they're start selling auction for, the new names for like .events, .app, .dub, but that's kind of arbitrary process. And they say it's a centralized process, so they wanted to decentralize. Hence, they put a root kind of name resolution into the blockchain, and they do some auction. So that's kind of different layer different purpose to us. So they actually, like, I went to East Denver Hackathon event, and one of the developer approached to me that actually you can resolve .eth on the internet through Handshake, so that you can, basically he created an example that if you do the dig command through vitalik.eth, it actually resolved in the DNS server. You can do this in 2 ways. That one, if you have a Handshake full node or light client in your laptop, and if you change the resolver address point to that, or someone like big player like Google start resolving Handshake namespace. So that's a top status quo solution. Or this is like do-it-yourself solutions. If you do that, you can actually use Handshake, and Handshake actually talk to ENS. But so that's reason 2. And reason 3, yes, EOS name service. Obviously, ENS, yeah. So they are like full on. They really learned how to monetize from this namespace rush, which momentary happened back in 2017. That they basically created edu hodl CO, and they have a different naming scheme, and also they create if it's 1 character, it's like 50 EOS, which is 180 or something. So they basically try to fully monetize this upcoming new digital asset, which is fine if that's what they want to do. But I think that differentiation we want to do is like .edu exists, right, in the internet. And if they start selling edu domain left and right, that's kind of doesn't comply with internet. And we try to be good citizen of the internet. So the approach we do is we have this .eth domain space, which is actually ETH in the internet world. It belongs to Ethiopia, because they allow all the 2 and 3 names to belong to this country. But Ethiopia uses .et, hence no one's using it. So we are kind of living in that space. And if you buy Ethereum name from .eth, you have to buy rent to us. But the whole purpose is like, if we don't make it free, everybody try to buy all the names. Well, try to squat on all the names. So our way is kind of trying to make it as a anti-squatting purpose. But at the same time, we're trying to work with the internet domain that if you have an internet domain such as XYZ, and if you prove that you have the internet domain space, you already pay the rents to this TLD provider. So we can give you ENS name ends with .xyz without paying rent to us, because no one can squat on the internet domain you already own. So there's no reason for us to charge you. And so this one was there since almost for a couple of years, but we start seeing, so like Brantley Milligan, who is the director of operation at ENS, started attending lots of ICANN event, and they started promoting the use of Ethereum as an infrastructure of the internet world. And we start getting some buy-in from the traditional internet domain registrars. So they started doing interesting way of integrating with ENS. So the first way is this .xyz is XYZ domain, a top-level domain. No, I don't think they know anything about Ethereum. So we create a way that if you create a text record on such as _ENS under your domain, and if you put the Ethereum address there, we have from an ENS manager, there's a way to press a button, and we retrieve the DNS record information from internet, and we turn into the proof. And there's a way that anyone can prove that this Ethereum address belongs to this domain. So once you do that, you can actually have Ethereum address, ENS name ending with .xyz. And this logic can apply to pretty much over 90% of the internet world. So our aim is to implement that across pretty much all the major top-level domains. So you could say, if your precious name is squatted by squatters, rather than trying to get on .eth, you could just say, send me is to .com or .org or whatever the domain you are on. So that's the first level. It's like anyone can do it approach. But by integrating with a top-level domain owner, such as .lux, they created, so setting up these processes on XYZ is relatively complex. So they simplify that. Like if they buy the .lux domain, they give you ENS. So buy the ENS, get the ENS free. That's kind of level 2 we already announced last year. They are already doing. So this kind of reflects into the number of adoption in the names that XYZ have less than 100 names registered. But .lux, because it's relatively easy, it has, I think, 400 or 500 names registered. But this is second level 2. Level 3 is the ENS. You can set ENS address, and you can also set IPFS record. But you can also use as a just normal dictionary. So you can add a ad hoc key and value store. So this .art domain does the integration that when you get the .art domain, you can set the text record on the ENS, and they do some integration together. So that's kind of text record integration. But the ultimate integration currently happening is in a domain called .cred. I think cred, they want to be credential, I think, is that they do very hardcore that if you buy domain through them, that's ENS name. So you can have Alex Cred as well as Alex Cred on the website and the ENS. That's same as level 1, level 2. But also this is an NFT token because my token, all the ENS name is now NFT token under .eth domain. So they apply the same way to make it tokenizing it. And also what they are trying to do in a unique way is rather than they put their DNS record in their DNS server, they actually set the DNS information into the IPFS and put the hash into the ENS. So what I'm trying to say is this is a real. There's a guy called Jim McDonald who created all the way something called EthDNS, which migrate IPFS and the ENS information. So he took the idea further that if you do give me the zone hash of jgmtest1.xyz, it returns an IPFS content hash. And if you look it up, it actually shows all the zone file information of the internet record. So by doing that, so in a level 1, level 2, or level 3, DNS provider has to write a record to ENS. But in this level 2, relation is flipped, if I understand correctly. That they are watching the ENS record information. And then whenever zone files change, they kind of apply. So they put in ENS logic first, so that relationship gets kind of flipped, which is kind of exciting. So that's kind of 4 levels of extending ENS into the real world happening right now. And so that's kind of pretty much all my talk. But one thing I want to remind you is that for people who, are there any people who bought ENS name before we migrated permanent to registrar? Yeah, so have you guys all migrated? Okay, if you haven't migrated, when we did the DNS registrar migration, we actually migrated it for you. So you actually didn't have to do anything. But even though it did it, it just keeps the same expiration date, which is the May the 4th, 2020. And also, I actually migrated to the new system on the day. So the earliest expiration coming is this day. And so most people have to start prepping for, renewal. And as you know, we are kind of hardcore decentralized whatever stuff, so we don't have any sorts of notification whatsoever. So pragmatic advice is just put into your calendar, or when you renew, you can renew as long as you like. So if you put in, renew for 99 years, probably in your lifetime, you don't have to renew. That's another way. And also, this kind of indicates the lack of, notification capability. And I started seeing that people start hacking around the notification solution on the East Global Hackathon. I heard that during the East Waterloo Hackathon, a couple people started hacking around the notification solutions, and there's a movement to make it standardized. So this would be the perfect opportunity if you have a solution around that, talk to us. And another thing is, if you haven't migrated, we did migration for you, but you still have, until the permanent register migration, which happened in May 4th, 2019, model was to lock your money into our smart contract, so that if you don't withdraw, your money will be stuck forever. But this is nothing to do with the renewal end date. So even if you didn't do anything, and we did migrate for you, so we, it's migrated, but DD is still there. Even if you forget to renew, you can still withdraw forever. But if you don't do it, then it's stuck forever. So I think no one is in this situation, in this audience. But if you're watching our live stream, hello, do it. That's about it. So I packed lots of information, but most of the information is pretty much available in the internet. So I put the whole links, and I'm gonna put into this slide into the internet, so you can read more information. That's it. Thank you very much. Do we have time for questions? Wait, any questions? Nothing? Understood everything. Yes.
Thanks for the presentation. I had a question on the decentralized websites,
Yes.
like IPFS plus ENS plus static websites.
Yes.
Do you think that everyone should have their own decentralized website?
The question is, should everybody have the decentralized website? Well, not really.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
No, I don't. Oh, well, I do have. I created a decentralized gift wedding card for Nick and Juliet. So if you go to Nick and Juliet, happywedding.nickandjuliet.east.link, that's actually in IPFS. And that's permanent. But depends on what you want to do.
I didn't get why there was only like 5 domain extensions official for XYZ and stuff. Couldn't you?
This.
Yeah, this one.
So currently we didn't enable that. So this domain can be root domain is owned by multisig, and we have, are you the multisig owner? So if you capture 7 of this guy, you can basically control ENS. But these are the people who unlock new domains. And the .eth was the first one, and we also have a test domain for testnet. Reverse record .addr exists, and I think we are working on the ways to unlock everything. So probably by the end of this year, you get to the situation that you can have any internet domain can be in as an ENS name. But because we haven't done it, it's manual process. Every time Aaron has to basically approve. And the XYZ, we did it. And the Lux Club KLT art is, so most of the time, like we could do it without the permission from the top level domain owner. But these Lux Club, not KLT, and the art, they basically came to us to say, hey, we want to do something more to that. So in this case, they actually own that top level domain now, and they do their own customized integration, which I show in the level 2, 3, and 4 level. Yeah, but hopefully by the end, you're going to have like over 1,000 domains listed there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.